Hello, my name is Maria and we are going to talk about the Hershey Company. First, I want to tell you that Milton Hershey was working in a store of candy where he learned the recipe of the caramel. Then he found the caramel company. And at the age of 30, he assisted to an expo where he found German people who were melting the cocoa beans. So he was caught by the smell of the chocolate and he wanted to focus on the business of chocolate. But he wanted to find a recipe that were creamy and can be stored. So he sent some of his employees to work with the competitors so they can learn their strategies and their processes. Milton Hershey found a key component for his recipe, that it was the condensed milk. When he succeeded in his recipe, he created the Hershey Chocolate Company. Then he introduced more products like Kisses the Hershey, chocolate with peanut butters, Rice Krispie, and he made millions. He created a farmland, that it was the huge farmland in Pennsylvania, and he and his wife, they didn't have family. So he created a community, he bought a town and created a community for his employees, his families, with schools, churches, parks, hospitals. When he lost his wife, he traveled to Cuba, where he found that the country was rich in sugar. So he established a community there where he can produce his own sugar and export it. Then he signed a contract with the government of US to produce a nutritional bar for the soldiers during the World War. The mission of Milton Hershey was to create a chocolate that was affordable for most of the people. So the company was inspired of this mission and wants to create good moments. And the culture of the company is based on the values of integrity, union, making the difference in excellence, and caring for their people, the community, the planet, and helping children to succeed. The leadership of the company is in charge of Michael Book. She's the president of the company, and she is followed by the vice president, international president. They are in charge of the acquisitions and the expansion of the company. The company have been expanded and creating factories in different parts of the world like Canada, Mexico, Brazil, Japan, Korea. But what is everything sweet for Hershey? Well, the company had delays in the non-responsible supply. That means that the company must comply with the social and environmental standards for a sustainable agriculture certificate. Also, the company has allegations that it sources cocoa from African farms that use child labor. So the company must comply ethical sourcing and use cocoa from farms that will not use child labor.
Hello, I will now be presenting on who Hershey's key stakeholders are. Hershey's key stakeholders include the community and consumers that it serves, the employees that let Hershey run the treads, the environment that Hershey's affects while it produces its products, the executives and management who make decisions that may affect the other stakeholders, and the suppliers that make it possible for Hershey's to operate. We will now be talking about what Hershey has done to engage with these stakeholders. Now, Hershey's first attempt at strengthening their stakeholder engagement is with an ethical cocoa supply. Hershey seeks to ensure that all its suppliers, all being more than 10,000 of them, are operating in an ethical manner, that no labor is being abused and no child labor is being conducted on these farms. It is also starting initiatives to help farmers that are involved in the cocoa farming process to improve their standard of living and make them more aware of their benefits and how to market their cocoa. Hershey's is also funding programs to eliminate child labor that are happening in other unethical sources of cocoa around Africa. Now, moving on from Hershey's attempts and progress in their supply chain, we go on towards their efforts in environmental sustainability. In this case, Hershey's is trying to reduce as much as they can their emissions by a significant amount. It is also eliminating any waste that these production sites have towards the environment, while also making their packaging of the products recyclable, reusable, or compostable. And last but not least, we look at their efforts towards building a community that represents who they are. This starts with providing equal opportunities to women, with up to 50% of their workforce being female, providing equal opportunities to people of color, with up to 40% of their employees being people of color, and trying to reduce hazards and dangerous mishaps in their workplace.
Hershey's nowadays is recognized as one of the most ethical companies in the world, and they applied a code of ethics a few years ago because they had a scandal having child labor in their cocoa fields, that they need to develop a new code of conduct so they could redeem themselves. And right now the company is aware of these issues like child labor, as I said, forced labor as well, human trafficking on the farms and along the supply chain for the company, and that they set various expectations and standards that program and guide business activities and operations around the stakeholders. And they have the commitment to complying with relevant and local internal regulations and policies for the company. Another co-details Hershey's approach is anti-corruption and antitrust whistleblower, which means when an employee or another stakeholder in general leak information or reveals a private info about the organization. And that has been applied to the code of ethics nowadays. Hershey's also have a new human rights policies that outlines the responsibility to uphold the human rights, of course, along the entire value chain, including actions to end past and present forms of slavery. Also, the corporation has guiding principles that regard human rights after consulting internal and external stakeholders. And the company also have implied a DEI program for the team so that they have a diverse workplace, and the company also believes in the principles for non-discrimination and equality inside the company. And due to that and other reasons, that Hershey's was found in the Business Human Rights and United Nations Guiding Principles. For Hershey's compliance orientation, they have a quality and regulatory compliance team that monitors and assess the industry standards and laws to make sure that the business complies with most recent information and best requirements for the supplies. Um, Also, some of the Hershey's facilities comply with the global quality and safety standards for the Global Food Safety Initiative. And Hershey's also implied a program called Hershey's Produce Excellence Program that is basically a detailed quality management system that developed to reduce, identify, and eliminate any risks in the product cycle.
Hello everyone, my name is Ananda, and in this part I will talk about Hershey's corporate citizenship, corporate social responsibility, and I will make a comparison between its competitors' actions in the same area. According to Farrow et al., companies have a responsibility to be profitable at an acceptance level to meet the objectives of stakeholders and also create value. Hershey's is constantly giving back to the communities they affect, and at the same time, it is a profitable business. It is a concern with the communities that they affect the most in West Africa, where they get the most important commodity they have, which is cocoa. When it released their ESG report for the year of 2022, it showed the target that by 2030, Hershey's Cocoa Good Strategy seeks to invest $500 million to impact cocoa farming communities positively. In the United States, they have the Say Hello initiative, which integrates both Spanish and English speaking employees under the same roof, equipped with bilingual training, managers, and also workplace materials. President and CEO Michelle Buck has won CED's Corporate Citizenship Award, proving Hershey's is recognized in the industry by its programs. In this part, we're going to talk about the corporate social responsibility. We know that Hershey's founder, Milton Hershey, was a philanthropist, and the company is very proud to continue his legacy through its program to give it back to its communities. Besides the projects I mentioned in the earlier slides, in countries like Canada, Mexico, the Philippines, Korea, and Malaysia, Hershey's helped through philanthropy, volunteerism, and product donation. In Canada, for instance, Hershey Canada employees volunteered and made monetary donations to Food Bank Canada, donated gently used clothes and school supplies, cleaned up local parks, donated to the local Ronald McDonald's House, and the team also continues to support BGC Canada in its efforts to support child well-being. For diversity, equity, and inclusion, they state that they have a long-standing commitment to fostering an inclusive environment where all their employees can bring their whole selves to work each day. They also have projects to support youth. Among the awards Hershey has won or has been recognized through the year of 2023, they have a top company for Black and Latino executives, top ranked ESG, top companies for people with disabilities, top companies for philanthropy, and top companies for talent acquisition for women of color, among others. Now let's compare Hershey's to Cadbury and Nestle. They all have concerns of the origin of the cocoa they use, especially on child labor and human rights issues. On communities, they have a similar program, like Cadbury has programs focused on health habits, supporting charities that matters to their employees, and also focusing on youth development. On the other hand, Nestle is promoting inclusion and diversity at the workplace, is empowering youth and women, and is committed to promoting health, safety, and well-being to its employees. It states that it regularly engages with stakeholders to stay on top of issues. So I would say that they are as committed as those they impact. I just feel like Hershey shows off more than the others.
Hi, my name is Juliana, and I'm going to be talking about sustainability and the Hershey's Company. So, according to the Cambridge Dictionary, sustainability is the quality of being able to continue over a period of time. So, this meaning already represents how broad the sustainability term is and how it is a discourse that can be used in several different subjects. In business, sustainability can be divided in three main spheres: environmental, social, and economic sustainability. The Hershey Company has published several different reports on sustainability, not only the common environmental, social, and government reports, but also several different other types of reports, as you can see on the screen. Hershey's is a somewhat old company. They are 129 years old, which is interesting because for 116 years of the company, they never published any ESG reports. So these reports, they seem like a lot, but they're not a lot compared to how old the company is. But they are very promising and they tend to talk about most subjects in sustainability and most concerns of stakeholders. This is a timeline graph from Hershey's most recent ESG report, the 2022. This timeline graph has a title of A Legacy of Doing the Right Thing. This title already entails the idea that Hershey's has been doing the right thing for a long period of time, and that's why they have a legacy. The graph starts in 2012. It's a recent ESG report, so that's why it starts in 2012, and it ends more or less in early 2023. As you can see, the amount of achievements has increased throughout the time. These previews very promising ideas and programs regarding sustainability provided by Hershey's gives the public the idea that Hershey's is a very sustainable company. Unfortunately, with quick research, it's easy to find evidences of not so ethical and sustainable practices by Hershey's. For example, here I have two evidences, two different proofs of how Hershey's hasn't been very sustainable or ethical. The first one is this article from The Guardian, and the title is Mars, Nestle, and Hershey to face child slavery lawsuit in the US. So that talks about child slavery and child labor in cocoa farms in West Africa and how Hershey's is involved with that. And the second evidence is a video of ex-factory workers in Hershey's factories in the US and how they were mistreated as employees.